Hey there, Tundra Nation, and welcome back to the channel. Today on Tundra Tactical, we're going to explore some of the biggest public relations mistakes gun companies and organizations have made. So sit back, get those Twitter responses ready, and let's start the show.
That's rad.
First up, we have Ruger and their 2009 attempt at branding their line of pistols as the Hard R line. Yep. You heard me correctly. That was a real thing. Ooh. I'm not sure how it got past an approval board, but it did, and those advertisements went out into the real world. Now, folks, this has about as much vision as Stevie Wonder picking out curtains. The fact that this was done back in 2009 is no excuse for this type of blunder. While the term hard R is probably more popular now than it was back then, it's in reference to a prolific racial slur, and it almost feels like this was done by some wily intern that knew this would come back to bite them in the future.
That's a dang it.
This type of advertising blunder doesn't happen often, since almost all ideas have to go through some sort of a committee, but it feels like the only test market for this idea was held at a Klan rally. Here's an idea, Ruger. Don't use Call of Duty lobby chat to come up with marketing ideas.
Oh, baby, a triple!
That brings us right on down the road to the NRA itself and their FUD-adjacent approach to selling memberships. I know we just covered Wayne LaPierre in our last video, but the fact that every FUD I've ever met is a member of the NRA and they think they're just the bee's knees when it comes to education and protecting our rights means that FUD marketing works. No! In reality, their standards for certifying an instructor have more to do with their checks clearing than with actual knowledge and training. Almost every single NRA certified instructor I've ever seen will say some sort of FUD lore at some point during a class. I mean, they even released the footage of old Wayne just being an incompetent shot during his elephant expedition in Africa. After multiple shots, the job still wasn't done and the guide had to finish off the elephant to keep it from suffering anymore. Talk about a train wreck.
Please, no more.
Yet these are the guys somehow that hold the gold standard that we're supposed to turn to for firearms and hunter education. The only gold standard here involves cufflinks and parachutes. Wayne, buddy, you have your entire life to be an idiot. Why don't you just take the day off?
You suck!
In order to remain based and not out of touch, you're going to want to check out our sponsor, PWS. They're now offering their advanced BDE suppressors in 4 caliber options: 7.62, 9mm, 22, and 5.56. These suppressors offer revolutionary sound control, all while remaining lightweight and tough. They're easy to clean, easy to install, and easy to maintain. These suppressors will make shooting even better than it was before. Click all the links down in the doobly-doo. Ah, yes. Next up, we have the most recent example of bad optics and timing coming from Larry at Midway USA. A couple of days ago, they released this post on Instagram and Twitter, which appears to have been deleted faster than their expedited shipping. In the post, Larry and his wife Brenda congratulate Wayne on his retirement and state that in the past 50 years, nobody has accomplished more for the Second Amendment than Wayne freaking LaPierre. I just need to ask, what?
What?
Tell me Wayne has bought you an expensive suit without telling me Wayne has bought you an expensive suit. This is a prime example of companies of the good old boys club if I've ever seen it. Not to mention the blinders that some of these CEOs have on at all times. This is what happens when you support the human equivalent of a participation trophy, folks. Now, it's all less surprising than many people think, since you can't even make a purchase from Midway without them panhandling for you to round up to make a donation to the NRA. Larry very clearly has no idea how his customer base really feels about these situations, nor I think does he even care. This is why you don't let Grandpa on the internet, folks, and if you do, review everything he says before it goes out. Larry is the type of guy to see that advertising campaign from Ruger and be all like, I don't actually see any problem with that. If there was ever an example of I don't understand the world around me that I live in, this, my friends, I think would probably be it. Somebody needs to tuck Larry into bed with a nice bowl of soup and take away his ability to communicate with the outside world. Larry, I genuinely hope all the chocolate chips from here on out in your life turn out to be raisins.
Ouch, baby. Very ouch.
We cannot talk about a company like Midway without bringing up one of their competitors, the now disgraced Big Daddy Unlimited. Yes, now we have roasted them before. I mean, how can you not, from their horrible drop shipping services to flat out stealing the designs from products that they sell to copy for personal gain. Oh, and let's not forget them handing over customer information to the ATF. Yeah, that right there is no shortage of a list of blunders to talk about. Let me just start off by saying, I think Big Daddy Unlimited had us all fooled for a bit, with the promise to content creators like myself that if we advertised for them, we'd get paid by membership numbers, and we were of course on board. The pitch was good, cheap starting price, promise of savings on name brand products. In fact, the pitch was a little too good. You see, they figured out that with pyramid schemes, you can't let the pyramid get too tall, but if you make the bottom layer ever expanding, it just becomes more and more solid. Well, that is until you can no longer get the products to members because of drop shipping times and inventory issues. Ouch.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
These are the types of guys that you want to turn to when you absolutely have to pay for a product, then forget all about it and just act surprised when it comes. I mean, there were even rumors that they were still taking orders on products they didn't have and just not shipping anything out. We all know how Shady Florida Man can be, but this just takes it to a whole new level. All right, the fact that these guys even exist means there is proof the universe has a sense of humor. I mean, I've met these guys before, and trust me, they give off the vibe of somebody who takes way more than 15 items to the express checkout lane. They are the epitome of doing anything to make a buck, but still have no morals to stand on. I mean, they're part of the reason you see these videos online of the ATF agents showing up to people's houses demanding they turn over stuff that was bought legally. BDU sold us out worse than the NRA did, and that, folks, right there is a feat on its own. I mean, they even supported gun buybacks in their local area, knowing full well the majority of their customers don't support such things. Everything from their business model to the practices they employ to keep their name in the public eye is shakier than a Michael J. Fox brand vibrator.
Did you shake that up on purpose?
Parkinson's.
Moving on back to an actual manufacturer, we have the now two-time bankruptcy champions, Remington. Somehow, America's oldest gun company just couldn't keep it together and evolve with the times. The PR mistake here was to keep selling the 700 series rifle despite them having a known safety issue that caused the gun to fire without the trigger being pulled. Yikes. I mean, maybe it was just a case of them getting older, as these things do happen to all guns at some point, allegedly. According to our literal tens of minutes of research, premature shooting is a much bigger problem on the range or in the field than it is in the bedroom. Now, they've claimed to fix this issue on more than one occasion, yet every model still seems to have the same issue. Now, folks, it wasn't every single rifle that they released, but the fact that the trigger and safety design was the issue and they couldn't fix it, yet they still continued to sell the gun, is the dang problem. Once again, we have a classic example of a CEO being completely out of touch and money hungry. But in spite of all this, they declared bankruptcy a second time and had to have their company ripped apart and sold off, which I think is for the better. We're seeing some of the classics being re-released over the years as part of the new parent companies, minus some of the obvious safety features. Thank you very much. All the FUDs, of course, are complaining that it's not actually Remington anymore, while the rest of us are rejoicing that we're not going to have a Dick Cheney-style hunting accident in the future. Make sure to subscribe, folks.